5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey Gravity Formers, it's Monday, July 15th. We have a collection of stories and interviews today. I'm excited to get into this Dog Days of Summer episode. Is it Dog Days of Summer? Yeah, I don't know. Kind of feels like it, but hey, anyway, it's Breakdown, a Gravity Forms podcast.
Hey Breakdown listener, it's Zach Katz here from Gravity Kit with some exciting news. It's Gravity Kit's 10th birthday. I started Gravity Kit back in 2014 with a single powerful plugin, Gravity View. Since then, we've grown to offer a suite of useful and powerful Gravity Forms add-ons. Today, Gravity Kit powers over 40,000 websites, and to celebrate, we're offering a huge 40% off all of our products during our birthday week from July 22nd to 31st. On Gravity Kit's birthday, July 24th, join our live call for a chance to win a free lifetime license. For more details, head over to gravitykit.com/live. Don't miss out on the celebrations. It's all kicking off on July 22nd. Be sure to join us at gravitykit.com. That's gravitykit.com.
Thanks, Zach, and happy birthday to Gravity Kit. 10 years is a major milestone for any business, but especially a WordPress business, serving WordPress users, Gravity Forms users for the last decade. Quite an accomplishment, so congrats to you and the team. No major updates to Gravity Forms in this episode to chat about. You'll hear from Adam Pickering on Gravity SMTP. He's going to share a small update with us before we get into today's interviews. There is one major update coming to WordPress. WordPress 6.6 is out this week. Fingers crossed, as long as there isn't anything holding it up or some major security thing that they have to pause shipping WordPress 6.6. But there are some very interesting features coming out. One of them being you'll start to see hints of the new WordPress admin look and feel. You'll see that if you're in the site editor and looking at templates and template parts and other parts of the full site editor, you'll start to see the updated admin UI, which will permeate throughout WordPress admin as WordPress continues to evolve over the next 6 months to a year, and really exciting to see that stuff come together. There are some improvements to things like the grid layout. These are new features coming into WordPress, giving you more control over creating and styling grids right inside of the editor. But the biggest update that's happening is the override specific items in synced patterns, right? Or synced pattern overrides. The name isn't as wonderful as it should be, but what WordPress is allowing users to do is create patterns like they've always been able to do, sync them as they've always been able to do. But what happens in a synced pattern world is if you create a synced pattern to share with other folks, using WordPress alongside of you, whether that's your publishing team, your marketing team, or you're building websites for clients and you're saying, hey, I'm creating a bunch of patterns for you. You can reuse these patterns throughout the website. When you're syncing them, you're creating a connection across all of those patterns. So you make a change and it'll happen across all patterns, which is great. If they're a synced pattern, it's kind of what you want it to do. The overrides portion is what's going to allow you to create these sort of fractional synced patterns where you can create a global synced pattern, like you style it, background color, but maybe you want the heading or the image to be able to change. And that's the override portions. Users will be able to click on, let's say, the call to action button and say, hey, this will be allowed to be override. And a user will be able to change that button, that image, that call to action without breaking the entire design and structure of that pattern. So this is a welcomed update for those of you who are working with WordPress end users, building websites for them, because now you'll be able to style that stuff and say, hey, only go in and change the headline, but don't break the rest of the styling or the buttons, the important embedded video or background image. You don't want to give everybody that control. You want to give them just the ability to change that headline. You'll be able to do that now with the pattern overrides. Then there's a ton of things in the background of WordPress that are starting to get updated. The interactivity API, these are all things that are going to improve WordPress in the long term, and we're really excited to see that stuff come together. So WordPress 6.6 is shaping up to be a pretty impactful update. Even though there's not a lot of features, I think the override systems with the sync patterns, the ability to start creating more refined grid layouts, all of that stuff, along with some minor performance improvements, is really going to make WordPress 6.6 feel a lot more significant than maybe the fact sheet looks. Okay, now I'm going to kick it off to my colleague, Adam Pickering. He's going to give us an update on Gravity SMTP.
Hey, it's Adam from Gravity SMTP. I wanted to share an update with you what's been happening with the product over the last few months. In June, we released 1.1.0, which added a few new integrations, such as the highly requested Microsoft integration, as well as Google. And we also added the ability to send emails through PHP Mail as well. We also added the ability in that release to set a connection as a primary connection or a backup connection. So if there are issues with one of your connections, there's always a backup that it will send through. In July, we also saw 1.2.0 be released, which enabled a few new features such as the resend email functionality, as well as being able to migrate from a popular WordPress plugin called WP SMTP to Gravity SMTP. And so, yeah, that brings us to what we've been up to over the last few months, and we're really looking forward to what we're doing in the future.
Thanks, Adam. It's great to hear all of the advancements happening with Gravity SMTP. Super excited for that product to continue to evolve and develop lots of great features in the works. I can't wait to see some of these things come to the full version of Gravity SMTP. If you haven't checked it out, go to gravityforms.com and check it out right now. Next up is my interview with Ryan Sullivan from Sitecare, long-term friend of mine in the WordPress space. He lives in the West Coast, but we've met up one or two times out here on the East Coast. Always a great time chatting with him. Sitecare is a WordPress care plan and services company. It's had quite an evolution from when he started it way back 12 years ago as WP Sitecare. He was doing your typical sort of WordPress maintenance and support type contracts with customers. Very competitive space. If you're an agency or a freelancer, you probably know, you're well aware of selling care plans to your customers, but he's the OG. He's been doing it for over a decade and probably coined the term site care or care plans. Let's get into my interview with Ryan. Ryan, welcome to Breakdown.
Matt, it's good to be here.
Man, you have a storied background in WordPress, just as long as I, if not longer. You've been around since probably the inception of Gravity Forms. You are the chief people officer. I don't know why that's in my head. Chief of staff at Sitecare, a company that you started many moons ago. We're going to talk about running Sitecare today, what Sitecare provides to end users. But first, let me just hit you with the question. Are you going to WordCamp US in September this year?
I'll be there. I'll be in Portland. It's a quick trip for me. I'm just I'm in Utah, so hard to make excuses to not be there, especially lots of great people show up, and so I'll definitely be there.
I hear rumblings of a potential golf match.
If that's happening, put me on the email list. Put something, whatever. I'm in. I'll figure it out.
We're not going to disclose our handicaps, though we were talking about it before we hit record. But hey, maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring if there's some decent club rentals. I'm certainly not good enough to travel with my clubs, but I'll rent some halfway decent ones.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to us about Sitecare, sitecare.com. At once it was called WP Sitecare, correct?
Yeah. When I started a company 12 years ago, I think, called WP Sitecare. Was, support and maintenance for WordPress sites. So we do things like backups and, updating plugins and things like that. And then 6 years ago, in fact, today is literally the 6th year anniversary. WP Sitecare joined an agency called Southern Web. And then about 4 years ago, we rebranded as Sitecare without the WP.
It's been an exciting ride. Just like looking at and observing the support landscape or the support marketplace ecosystem in WordPress. It's such, well, I mean, you probably know the numbers way better than I do, but I look at it as such a massive piece of the WordPress ecosystem. It's building sites, yes. Designing sites, yes. But then I think a lot of early stage agencies really learn that, oh, there's money to be made at support and I guess what a lot of people call now care plans. You probably coined that. You're probably the godfather of care plans as they've known. I see it all over agency groups, like on Facebook groups and stuff like that. But it's a big market. What do you think most people overlook as early stage agency or freelancers? What do they overlook or maybe underappreciate in the support section of after they deliver a website to somebody? What is it they're really missing that you'd want to tell them to pay more attention to?
What I've learned over the years is the technical side of it. It's way more complex than it's ever been, but I don't believe that's the difficult part. The difficult part is the human relationship part of it. So you like if you're considering offering these ongoing maintenance activities, people expect a response from a real human, but not just a real human who can actually address the issue that they're having. So I think what a lot of people do, or what I've seen in the industry is lots of canned replies, auto replies, or they'll hire like an admin to do triage, and then the developer is kind of somewhere in the background, right? And at Sitecare, we've always made it a priority to make our frontline support staff WordPress professionals. So people who can not only acknowledge whatever challenge the client is having, but also do something to remedy it, even if it's a short-term resolution that needs more time to have a full resolution later on. Just today there was a client site that they had enabled automated updates, which we don't know why they did that, but they enabled automated updates because when they're on a plan with us, we typically go through a pretty particular update process. But anyway, their theme updated itself, broke a bunch of front end layouts, and we had them, they sent an email in a panic, like, what happened? How did this go wrong? We could see in the activity log exactly where they had enabled it. Automatic updates. We knew exactly what needed to be fixed. And within a couple of minutes, our account manager had them in great shape. And I think that, that type of interaction is really difficult to create. Those types of people who enjoy customer service, but are also technically savvy, are difficult to hire and typically aren't inexpensive to hire either. Sure. And so it's something that I think gets overlooked a lot, and it's something that really makes a difference between, the folks who are just going through the motions and the ones who are providing real support.
There's a knowledge gap, right? You have the clients who they don't know anything about WordPress. If they do, they just know it from this is a thing somebody told me I should be on. If they're savvy enough, they know that it's open source and they kind of own their stuff. It's not, beholden to Wix or Squarespace or things like that, but very few really come into the game, even with that kind of knowledge. And then you have the early stage, the agency freelancer who is, I continue to learn on the job too. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but are continuing to learn on the job. Agencies you're always learning in any business really, but especially agencies, you're learning where the customers' needs are. You're keeping up with technology. And all the while you're being marketed to from, these automated systems that are like, hey, with one click, you can maintain your WordPress website, backups, updates, all this stuff. Yeah, one click is great. It's so easy. But what happens when you're doing that for a client and something goes wrong? Or the client does something, like you said, maybe turns on auto updates. Well, your little magical one-click update system isn't helping you roll back and understanding what broke or how the client fixed it. Enter in the age of AI where everyone's like, oh my God, this is just, I could throw an AI chatbot at my clients too. And you start to really create this non-human approach. And I say, save the humans, especially in the services world, because that kind of care and support is what's going to, up the game for you, the freelancer or the early stage agency, to really have that human approach. It's going to cost more, it's going to cost you more, it's going to cost your client more. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a better output for everybody, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even add to that, like especially with the chatbot AI thing. Really, we've just created a phone tree with more options.
Yeah.
And people don't even know the people who are in need of support don't even know the option that they need to be choosing, right? So we've created this choose your own adventure that creates an endless loop that people don't know how to navigate. And whereas if they write, two sentences to a skilled professional that say, hey, website's broken, I don't know why, like that's enough information for a really pro human to go and look at all of the logging and the details and all of the other things that we're tracking and go, oh, I see what went wrong here. Let's get everything back in working order. And that's what customer service is. Customer service is being able to deliver on being able to resolve the issue on the fewest number of touches as possible. And, nothing feels less satisfying than even when you get to the point of talking with an agent, getting some type of reply that says, okay, somebody from our development team will get back to you within 2 to 3 business days. I'm an active issue that I'd really like to get sorted out here. Is there anything else we can do? Right? Like that,
Sure.
that whole interaction is just uncomfortable for customers. And it's something we really, really try and avoid.
I want to give you the chance to present a way for those listening, freelancers, again, early stage agencies, to partner up with Sitecare, right? When does it make sense for an agency to work with a company like yours? And I'll ask the dreaded question, are they leaving money on the table if they partner with you? Do you have referral fee systems, affiliate systems? I think a lot of folks are afraid to partner and work with others because like, oh man, I might be leaving money on the table. But then you also have to ask yourself, are you the one to really do this work, right? Like
Right.
If you don't have time to support and maintain your customer sites, are you the one to do it just for the sake of making a few extra bucks? Or do you partner with Ryan and his team? So Ryan, what's the best way for folks to partner and work with you? And do you have the infrastructure to facilitate that?
Yeah, we do. We have a referral program. We pay a 10% flat rate of any business that's referred to us. So, anybody sends us, refers us a client, they sign up for a plan, 10% is going back to the referrer for the duration. We make those payments. We do quarterly payouts on those. As far as leaving money on the table, I think that question ultimately comes down to bandwidth and reputation, right? At what point do you have so many unsatisfied customers that you start jeopardizing the business you've already grown? And if you feel like you're ever in that type of situation when you're like, every email I get is somebody that's upset or who is looking for an update or who wants more, like if that's what most of the communication looks like, partnering up with somebody like us is probably a good way to go. I will say we're very focused on the things we do. We don't get involved in, we're hands off on whatever, developers or other agencies have going on outside of our scope of services. So we stick to what we do and we do it the best we can. But yeah, I think that's kind of how I evaluate that whole thing, right? Is like, if I'm not actually leaving money on the table if the people who are paying me for this type of service are always angry because they're going to cancel and leave anyway. And I might even be jeopardizing like relationships that I've established in the past. And so that's, if you're in any similar type of state, it definitely makes sense to, offload that work to somebody like us and have some passive income to go with it.
Yeah, I've seen it time and time again, and so have you, obviously, where a lot of folks are just optimizing for the website sale now. Like, I'm going to do this stuff now, and I'm going to profit now. and then either overlook the long term of support, but certainly overlook the long term of customer experience and customer retention, and are they happy? Will they refer more business to me? Like, should I have done like an SEO audit on their site if I really don't know what SEO is? And then you're just compounding this stuff over time, and you're hit the nail on the head. And it shouldn't be understated that is a testament for your time in this space and serving clients to like understand that a well-oiled machine serving the purpose of, what you're really good at is much more important than just like going broad and saying, I'll do all of these services, right? Which is actually a lesson maybe that your own company went through, right? Is Southern Web sort of optimizing now to Sitecare. Hey, we're doing this great thing with Sitecare. All this other stuff is just too much. And we can do really good by our clients by optimizing on the Sitecare brand. So not only do you know it, you've lived through it and you continue to operate it. So that's a great piece of advice. I want to shift over to talking about Gravity Forms. Of course, we're here on Gravity Forms. You've been a Gravity Forms user for over 10 years?
For sure, over 10, yeah.
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 You started on your own personal sites, or did you start using it when you launched WP Sitecare?
Probably, yeah. The first license I ever bought was probably a developer license for WP.
Don't disclose the
Sitecare,
price because you're probably still paying the same price.
we
$17.
No, we upgraded recently. We're paying retail now, but that was because we got so much value out of it that we almost felt a little bit guilty about what we were paying. So we were like, no, this is something we need to put a little bit more into. But yeah, a tool that I've used for a very, very long time.
Is there a common use case or a common Gravity Forms stack that you use with your clients at Sitecare? Is there a typical blueprint using a certain set of add-ons that you're always installing and activating with Gravity Forms?
Yeah, there are several. I don't know if anybody's looked at the world of like spam moderation outside of Gravity Forms. Like so the Akismet add-on is kind of a default. That's a go-to. Any kind of moderation with other forms products that we've used has been not great. So that's a very common add-on. The other we've built. I wouldn't say this is necessarily typical, but we've built quite a few simple checkouts for clients using Gravity Forms, where a full e-commerce service just really didn't make sense for what they were selling. We've used it. We have a client right now that we just set up a full-blown classified system, basically using Gravity Forms. So somebody comes to the site, they say, I have something to sell. They submit a Gravity form. It creates a draft listing, but it also registers the user at the same time. They can log in, make any edits they need to, and then it goes through a moderation queue before it gets published, and it all runs really smoothly, and that's all Gravity Forms based. So, all kind of run the gamut with the types, all the different things we've done and the complexity. But yeah, I would say, genuinely, it's a tool that our team touches every single day of the week.
Yeah. There's a new add-on coming out. I don't know if it'll be out, but the beta's out right now. It's the Salesforce add-on. And I know from agency's perspective, like one of the things, and this isn't a direct question, but I'd love your thoughts on it. One of the reasons why I like Gravity Forms and how I use Gravity Forms in my agency was it allowed me to work with a particular type of customer, right? And I like using our email newsletter add-ons as an example, because you can have the MailChimp add-on, which is, your generic small business owner needs an email newsletter, gets out there every couple of months to send one email out to their clients. It's nice, but there's that type of customer, and certainly a great customer to service. But then you start to look at, okay, now there's the HubSpot add-on, where we integrate with HubSpot CRM. That could bring you and elevate you to a whole new class of customer, right? Just by leveraging this tool. Now you can go in and say, hey, we can help you, the HubSpot user, create lead gen forms for your sales team. marketing forms, downloads, brochures, all that stuff, get them into a automation flow with HubSpot. And now you're talking to a whole different type of customer, elevated,
Absolutely.
probably a bigger
Yeah.
budget, more time, et cetera. Then there's Salesforce that's rolling out. That's like enterprise. Now you can start to really go into that category. Your thoughts on like how a tool like Gravity Forms can elevate the service provider, like finding new customers. Do you have any thoughts on that or anything that you'd like to share, with that in mind?
Yeah, we have a client right now that do $4 billion a year in revenue who uses the Gravity Forms HubSpot integration, and that has been like really instrumental for them because they had a very, very strong opinion around what the aesthetics of the website should be, but they weren't really able to shape Gravity Forms itself to do that. But we could take a front end form like Gravity Forms and make it look however they want it to look. And that was, for them, that was something that they went, oh, wow, this is, it felt like magic to them because they had with their own internal team, they had messed with trying to make these embedded forms look a certain way for a long time. And we're basically told, that's not going to be possible for you by the HubSpot team. And HubSpot, and HubSpot itself, they're paying for an enterprise license of HubSpot, whatever that is, $40,000 a year plus type of thing. And so they're going, we're paying this much money and we can't make it look the way we want on our websites. So that's just one example of how it provides a solution that even the app or SaaS itself can't deliver. And so that's the type of solution that, some of these larger companies look at and go, whoa, like, and I can get this for, a few $100s per year. And we're like, yeah, yes. and it's like, it's almost confusing to them in a way, but yeah, it's absolutely allowed us to, the Gravity Forms has absolutely allowed us to cater to, really every level of client with different types of solutions. And it's the first thing, like anything forms based, it's the first thing we look to when our clients start asking us, oh, well, could we do this? Could we do this? And it's like, probably. And then we spend, a few hours with Gravity Forms testing some things and trying some new add-ons. And we come back and we say, absolutely, you can do that. And, being able to satisfy, an enterprise level client or any medium or large business with a tool like that, it really, their reaction is, it just feels like magic. Like it feels like this does not seem like it should be possible because all of their other interactions are about, oh, well, yeah, you're going to need this other add-on and this other license, and every single time there's another add-on or license or whatever, it's a number with a comma in it, or it's just not a typical interaction for them to be able to have like a really good solid web form solution that isn't just an astronomical fee.
Ryan Sullivan, Sitecare.com, the complete site health solution for WordPress. Ryan, anywhere else somebody should go to say thanks other than Sitecare.com?
That's the best place.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Don't forget to go check out Sitecare.com. Say thanks to Ryan for hanging out and sharing some of his knowledge with us today. Last but not least is our final segment of the day, and that's recapping what the team did at WordCamp Europe. Speaking to one of my favorite colleagues here at Gravity Forms, Megan Jones. She's going to tell us about her experience at WordCamp Europe. Was it the best? Can another WordCamp top this? Maybe WordCamp US coming up in September, where I'll be and the rest of the Gravity Forms team will be. Here's Megan. You just got back from WordCamp Europe. Fun time?
I did, yep. It was great. They're always great events. This one I think was a particularly good one, actually. I possibly think it might be my all-time favorite WordCamp. So
Wow.
yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to go. My wife was very upset that we didn't go because she was dying to go to Italy. But
Yeah.
things had to get done around the house.
We did miss you. We did miss you, Matt. So next time.
I watched all the lovely pictures on social media in our Slack, so it looked like a great time. Do you have a favorite moment from WordCamp Europe?
Oh, lots of favorite moments really. What are my takeaways? Obviously, always hanging out with the Gravity team. Always lovely to see everyone. Always some great conversations. Actually, we had some certified developers there as well. So Gravity Wiz were there, two of those guys, and Gravity Kit, the whole team I think were there. So that's always lovely to see them and talk about what they're up to. I think actually Turin was just beautiful, and I loved it. If you haven't been, go. That would be my advice. It just felt not too touristy, lovely food, beautiful buildings. Yeah, it was great. And then the actual WordCamp itself was really good. The location was great. The area we were in, like the
venue, everything was great.
The venue, that's it. Thanks, Matt. Looking for the word. The venue was great. So it was really big, and there's a lot of sponsors. I felt there was like a lot more sponsors than WordCamp US, and just a really good sort of like footfall of traffic, really nice space. And this is a funny thing that I really didn't enjoy it, but it was a really nice sort of thing, is that I've been to like quite a lot of WordCamps now, like the last 3 years I've been going, and people always talk about like the inclusive community in WordPress. And I do feel that, but I actually do always feel like, oh, I don't really know that many people at WordCamps. I don't really know that many people in the community other than a few people that I sort of connect with online. So I always feel like when I leave those events and then you see all the stuff on Twitter about everyone meeting up, and I think, oh, I'm not sure really if I'm sort of in that scene. Anyway, this time round, loads of people came and said hello to me and like remembered me from the last few years. It was very cute, and I felt like included, like for the, like sort of properly in the WordPress community. So that was a nice like takeaway, I felt, from just personally for myself. So yeah, it was fun.
WordPress royalty.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but just a few people recognised my face from previous events, and it was nice. Like some of our community developers that I've worked with, like just emailed and stuff. They came over and like sort of found me, and we had a good chat about their products, and yeah, it was a nice time.
What was the giveaway like? We gave away the Lego set and like a swag backpack. I remember the crowd at WordCamp US. There was just what felt like hundreds of people. I don't think it was that many, but it felt like that many people in front of our booth. Was it that much of a turnout in Europe?
It was great. Yeah, it was a good turnout. I actually think there was more. It felt like there was more people just generally there at the event. I don't know the numbers, but so yeah, for the giveaway, it was the same sort of big crowd. We actually brought a microphone this time, but the venue was sort of like so big and loud. It wasn't loud enough, so we were back to Mike sort of shouting and getting everyone's attention. But I think it went well. Have you got?
Did Mike have to stand up on a chair again?
He didn't stand on a chair, but he did do a lot of yelling. As normal. So we did. As I was saying, we did bring a microphone with us, but actually it wasn't loud enough for the venue. So
wow.
The crowd. So we have to up our game again next time. So, but yeah, we had a couple of winners, 3 winners. So it was fun.
Overall takeaway from WordCamp Europe: there's a sentiment from WordPress, the organizers of WordCamp Central, saying that events and participation is down from new participants. Any words of encouragement for folks to go and actually take part of these in-person events? Do you see it from the user's perspective on what somebody could take away from it, other than, you and I going for representing Gravity forms? But what do you see as like a great value add for somebody to attend these camps?
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Obviously people came round to the booth and we talk a lot, and a lot of them are sort of long time standing customers. I don't know obviously WordPress know on the numbers of sort of new and people coming and people that just keep coming over and over. It does feel like it's a lot of people that have been in the space a long time. It's tricky. It's difficult because I think a lot of the talks are set up for people that have been in the space a long time. So I do wonder if there is something there, if people are going to, sort of pay the price of flights and hotels and all the rest of it, and they're only sort of like new to WordPress, or if they're more like hobbyists. If at the moment those sort of events are worth that cost, if you've got like a small business and like if you've just got a WordPress site that you want to improve it, I think maybe I could see why you would go to a local meetup rather than a bigger one. So I do wonder if there is something there that we could do differently as a WordCamp, like for the actual like volunteers who are organising it, if they looked more at what maybe new people coming to the event might need. But it is great. It is a great event to come to. I mean, maybe people feel a bit daunted coming along because it is a big thing. I would say, like I said earlier, it was really nice. People actually like knew me this time round. So maybe just come along to a couple, one this year, one the next, and see how it goes.
Yeah, these flagship WordCamps they are expensive, right? Especially the cost of travel. That is literally the biggest expense, right? The tickets. Yeah. When you compare tickets to something like CloudFest or all these other sort of tech events, the tickets are actually quite pricey in the real world of events, right? $600-700 for entry level tickets, and then they have multi-$1,000 event passes to get you into different booths and VIP sections, and then you still have to pay for travel. So at least WordPress and WordCamps have that value going for it, where the flagship events are great, but they're still expensive to get to. Last question here. I think there's a kickstart for WordCamp London to get back in action, right? I see that there's a collection of folks who are really trying to bring the regular meetups back in session and the actual WordCamp back to London, because I think the last one was 2019, right?
Yeah, before COVID. And then I think last year there was a big push to get something off the ground, and then that didn't happen. I did actually see an email yesterday to say that there was an a wait list, for the local London meetup. So, but obviously it's getting well attended. Yeah, so I mean, it would be great. It would be lovely to have a big London WordCamp.
I'm dying to get there. I'm dying to get there.
I'm dying for you to all come over and bring the team can come over, and I'll show you the UK. So,
Megan Jones, thanks for hanging out today.
Oh, no worries. Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me, Matt.
That's it for today's episode. If you could do one more thing for me today, share this episode on social media, your favorite Facebook group or Discord channel. Spread the word about this podcast. It really helps. If you haven't added Breakdown to your favorite podcast app, point your browser to gravityforms.com/breakdown and click the icon of your app to add us and listen to us every 2 weeks. Okay, we'll see you in the next episode.